WWE superstars are often extraordinary individuals who have had to demonstrate incredible strength and perseverance to thrive in the ruthless world of wrestling. And as you can imagine, their lifestyle is fascinating.
It's a pleasure to meet you on the Wrestling Paradise to explore the case of the Great Khali.
You will learn, among other things, what the diet of this 7 feet 1 inch tall and 346 pounds giant, Great Khali, looks like, and all the secrets behind the extraordinary life of this giant, including what he eats to maintain such an impressive physique, and all the lessons that can apply to anyone's daily life.
You are on the Wrestling Paradise.
Let's dive into the lifestyle of Great Khali. Here we go.
No! Oh, man!
If there is a wrestler who embodies the expression larger than life, it is indeed Great Khali. The Indian giant is an extraordinary human being. A true giant who made history in WWE for the simple reason that he was the first Indian champion in the company's history in 2007. It was enough to be left speechless in front of such a phenomenon, especially since he remained undefeated for several months and was seen violently taking down big names in the business like Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. In India, the Punjabi Nightmare is seen as a true living god, with his more than impressive physique and the aura of overwhelming power he exudes, reminiscent of his destructive moves like the chop and the vice grip. And when we see such money, as they call it, we can ask a question that is truly fascinating. What does the lifestyle of such a titan look like? What does the Indian giant eat in a day? And more generally, what must he have eaten throughout his life to become such an intimidating giant? And not just that. One can also wonder how much he must have trained in the gym to build such a body, and what he must do to maintain it. And then, quite naturally, can you even imagine the mindset it takes to maintain a probably astonishing routine for years? Knowing that Great Khali was born in 1972, and that he was already impressive in the 1990s when he won the Mr. India title twice, which is a national bodybuilding competition. He is such a monster of nature that he cannot travel in economy class when flying. Instead, he has no choice but to go in business class since he is simply too tall and too wide. His physique also required him to find suitable gyms when he was on the road with WWE, performing at consecutive shows. It is also important to consider that he suffers from acromegaly, a condition characterized by excessive growth in certain areas of the body, which may have caused him issues over the years. But what has truly been one of the foundations of this standout physique and an essential area of his overall success is clearly his diet. This is a topic that may have fascinated many of his observers, as one imagines, of course, that he must probably consume outrageous amounts of food to be so massive and to have arms and hands that are so large. And that is indeed the case, but it is important to say that even though it involves immense quantities of food, there is a real strategy behind it, and Great Khali is certainly not the type to eat just anything. On the contrary, because as he said, you won't have my kind of physique if you eat junk food. In line with maintaining a healthy and clean lifestyle, it is also known that the Indian giant practices meditation and does not consume alcohol or cigarettes. He also avoids cookies, coffee, cottage cheese, and ice cream. His entire diet is focused on a single goal: to shape a true creature straight out of a video game, like a wrestling equivalent of Godzilla. The fact is that Khali has stated that he believes in a varied diet, a wise balance of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and fibers. And you will see that there are really 3 key foods in his diet that he eats more than all the others. The first is eggs. He is even known for his love of this food and for the incredible number he eats in a day. So, it is important to know that we have read various information on this topic over the years. But despite this, a trend emerges. He eats between 60 and 70 eggs per day. At the beginning of his career, he would even consume about 20 of them per meal. This may seem astonishing, but let's not forget that they are a source of protein, which is a crucial nutrient for building muscle. The amount of protein that each person may need to build muscle depends, in particular, on their height and weight. If you are 7 feet 1 inch tall and weigh 346 pounds, you will definitely need more protein than anyone else to build or maintain your muscle mass. However, it is worth noting that in his approach to eating healthily and paying attention to his health, Great Khali recommends eating only egg whites and not the yolk, which he believes is responsible for cholesterol. The second key food in his diet is chicken. Rich in protein as well, it is a food that he loves and eats in large quantities during his day, as you will see. As a fun fact, he is particularly a big fan of tangri chicken, which consists of chicken pieces, that have been marinated with spices and then grilled. Finally, the third and last major food in his diet is milk, of which he drinks no less than 2 liters a day. Ultimately, his day is broken down into several meals, which are generally as follows: milk, fruit juices, eggs, and dried fruits to start the day. After a walk and before starting his training plan, a meal consisting of chicken and bread. For lunch, curry, legumes, vegetables, wheat bread, eggs, plus dried fruits, and if that's not enough, an extra kilogram of chicken. And for dinner, a new mountain of food consisting of chicken, brown rice, eggs, whole wheat bread, and milk. He also stated that he eats seasonal fruits daily, such as apples and pears. In any case, what we notice is that his diet is quite substantial and very rich, but fundamentally, it's not that surprising. One could say it's like a truck that needs more fuel than a car, for example. It is somewhat a menu consistent with his physique, which is itself extraordinary. The lesson we can take from this is that to build muscle like Great Khali, a significant amount of protein is necessary. However, it is important to ensure that other nutrients are not neglected by consuming fruits, vegetables, or rice, as the Indian giant does, to avoid experiencing what Brock Lesnar went through. At the time when he was in the UFC, for example, when he had only focused on protein for years and had become seriously ill because of it. But to return to the Punjabi nightmare, he also has another pillar in his daily life that has helped him become this giant and is simply essential for maintaining his physique: training, of course. This is an area where the Indian has his preferences regarding the exercises he does, as well as a very clear organization of his week. He trains 6 days a week for 2 hours, taking 1 day off, specifically Saturday, during which he recovers and only does 30 minutes on the treadmill. It is worth noting that Tuesday is a day dedicated solely to cardio for him. Otherwise, he usually works on his chest on Sundays. By the way, believe it or not, the bench press is his favorite weightlifting exercise. His arms on Monday are the strongest part of his body, as he is used to, doing curl exercises with a 120 kilogram barbell. He works on his shoulders on Wednesday, his back and abs on Thursday, and finally his legs and abs again on Friday. And it is on that day that he does the exercise he likes the least, namely the squat. It is true that Great Khali's lifestyle is far from accessible to just anyone, and it requires iron discipline. But obviously, one does not become such a monster overnight and without daily hard work for years. As he himself said, and I quote, "I do not believe in shortcuts to reach a certain level in fitness. To build a good body, you need to put in time and effort." His own success can serve as inspiration, as he recounted that at one point, while he was still fighting to make a name for himself as a wrestler, he had to sleep in a ring after his training sessions because he had no other place to sleep. In any case, we can commend the great man that is Great Khali, as he is the first to encourage his fans to eat healthily and develop better eating habits to improve their health. In this same vein, he also opened a chain of gyms in his home country, which is a testament to his honor. Without a doubt, with his mentality and routine worthy of being taken as an example and adapted to everyone's goals, he can be the pride of India.
Now that you know all the secrets of the Great Khali's lifestyle, I would like us to take a moment to step back and see all the things that made him so unique. Because yes, there is only one Great Khali that is undeniable. One might think that there have been other big men like him, for sure, other giants in the history of wrestling, but I believe, at least in my opinion, that he has something more. Something perhaps even more intimidating, more dangerous than other big men that have existed. First of all, I want to emphasize, and this is something I personally love about the Great Khali, that if anyone embodies the term larger than life, it is definitely the Great Khali. So,
what is larger than life?
He is an impressive person, someone who, when you see him on screen, makes you go wow with wide eyes and leaves you shocked. And how could you not be impressed when seeing the Great Khali for the first time? It's true. And above all, I would like to focus particularly on what was, for me, his best period in WWE. For me, it is clearly between his debut in 2006 and the fall of 2008. It is this great face at the beginning of his journey in the Stamford Federation, which for me was the best, and it is here that he shone the most in this larger-than-life role of a big man. what actually happened during that time for him, and what made him so impressive during this period. Let's not forget that he debuted in WWE by destroying The Undertaker. Can you even imagine what it means to destroy The Undertaker right after you arrive in the main arena? No one has accomplished that. It is extremely rare to have such a prestigious victory so early in his journey, and he really put the dead man in his place. It was impressive, so that was the beginning of his journey. Then, during those months, let's say until the fall of 2008, throughout that period, he also won the heavyweight title, which no other Indian had done before him in WWE. So just for that, he has made his mark in the history of his country, which also allows one to realize and understand his popularity in India and what he represents there. It is rare, basically, for an athlete, even a star, regardless of their field, to be the first to do something in the history of their country, and the Great Khali is one such example. Let's not forget that for months and months after debuting in WWE, he was invincible. He never lost, and that only happened quite late in his career. One of my great regrets is that having him lose, in this case against John Cena in the spring of 2007, was not necessarily the best thing to do. Personally, I think this rivalry lasted too short a time, and that they didn't sufficiently develop the story between them, which could have been a bit like in the 80s, a situation where you had the superhero like Hulk Hogan who would be in great danger against a monster. So yes, the Great Khali had been a monster who destroyed everything in his path, that's for sure. But I would have liked to see John Cena much more challenged by the Great Khali, and that is clearly a matter of storyline choices. But it is undeniable that throughout this period, until the fall of 2008 in WWE, he represented someone dangerous, a threatening wrestler, not only for John Cena, but also for Batista, for Rey Mysterio, and for The Undertaker as well. That's something I liked about the Great Khali, and it's something we rarely see. I think, for example, of the entire ruthless aggression era and everything we've seen since, it's something we seldom witnessed. A guy, a monster, who comes in like that and almost massacres everyone for months, for so long. It's rare. It's too rare. And that deserves to be highlighted. But not just that. Because as I said, for me, there was a turning point in the fall of 2008. And what does this turning point translate into? When he becomes the Punjabi Playboy, what exactly is the Punjabi Playboy? At that time, also driven by a changing WWE, he moves increasingly towards things that could be described as more childlike, sometimes also lighter. So, under the influence of this change, he becomes a character whose main accomplishment at that time will be to invite women from the audience into the ring, or rather, his manager Ranjin Singh, who spots women in the audience with the Kali kiss cam and chooses one for him who will have the great honor of kissing him. That was his main achievement during that time, which was sometimes funny, even though I personally preferred to see the Great Khali in an intimidating and powerful role. It's undeniable that those segments were funny. What was also funny was that you could see that the Great Khali was sometimes disgusted when looking at the faces of certain women from the audience that Ranjin Singh had chosen for him. That was often amusing to see. But he also managed to kiss an Yves Torres or a Lillian Garcia, which is quite an honor for the Punjabi Playboy. They succumbed to his charm, I want to say, and he was also capable of dancing on screen. So, we can say that even when he was no longer a dangerous monster character and all that, he remained entertaining and fun. And few superstars can boast of having been in such opposing registers and having been good in both. And that is very rare. It is very rare. Also, what I would like to emphasize is that he has made his mark in the history of his country. And it's certain that we have seen afterwards, everyone has their own tastes. Some may not appreciate certain aspects of the Great Khali. Well, everyone has their opinion. Personally, that wasn't the case for me. On the contrary, when I see the Great Khali, I have always found him to be dominant and intimidating. And isn't that something we all love to see? In any case, when we discover wrestling or develop this passion, we love to be amazed, we love to be shocked. We love to make wide eyes in front of our television, or even if we have the chance to attend a live show in real life, makes us love seeing a wrestler and being shocked, thinking, wow, that's someone I wouldn't encounter in my everyday life. Wow, that's someone extraordinary. Because wrestling, isn't that what wrestling is? Isn't it about the extraordinary? In any case, that's something I love about the Great Khali. Beyond all that, beyond his lifestyle, beyond everything we have noticed, I would still like to conclude by emphasizing how much his journey deserves total respect. Can you even imagine being born in a village in India, having never had anyone before him who succeeded in WWE, and being in that situation, and still just managing to go to the United States to try his luck in wrestling there is already a major first step that is not given to just anyone, and it requires enormous work and effort. Just that alone deserves respect in the journey of the Great Khali. But in addition, to conquer the United States, coming from where he comes from, is a bit the Indian dream, his journey. It's true, he comes from a small village and reaches the pinnacle of the world by becoming the heavyweight champion, to the point of becoming, in India, like a living god, or at least someone who inspires a lot of admiration and passion. And that is something that can only be respected. So, for all these reasons, I wanted to declare all my love for the Great Khali and all my admiration, because yes, the Great Khali deserves it. And this is how this video on the lifestyle of the Great Khali comes to an end. We have seen how his discipline, work ethic, and journey are exemplary for his fans. One can realize that he is not just a human being born with extraordinary characteristics. He has also worked very hard throughout his life to become this exceptional giant. There is not the slightest chance involved. His physique is not an accident. And this is precisely the opportunity to propose an interesting debate. Do you think that at his peak, the Great Khali was the most intimidating wrestler of all time? Let us know what you think. It will be interesting to discuss this together in the comments and share our opinions.
We can say that this topic raises a lot of questions. I hope you had a good time watching this video, and I invite you to stay in the paradise of wrestling to look at some other ones. See you right away.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so. What?